Summer's just on the horizon, and with the new season comes a powerful new speed card. Does it live up to the hype, or should you take your carrots and run for the hills? So let's find out. Should you pull on Summer Maruzensky? Let's talk about the card first, and then we can get into whether pulling for it is going to be in your best interests. Talking about the card, there are three main points that I'd like to cover, and though they aren't exhaustive, they are what I think is the most important to discuss. First, the strength of the gold skill top runner for front runners. Now the white version, Leader's Pride, is already one of the best skills in the game for front runners, and this is a strong upgrade to it. Leader's Pride is currently used in order to help secure the front position early race, since going into first mid-race is massively advantageous position for a front runner to be in. Top runner is going to open a gulf between fronts that have it and those that don't, with top runner having a massive advantage in actually taking pole position. There's only one requirement on this skill, and that's that you be a front runner, meaning that any front runner, except Maruzensky, can use the skill on any track, and that makes it incredibly strong. We've already seen cards like 𝐒𝐓𝐎𝐏 Black with a Professor of Curvature, which can be used on any track basically in the game, just be like very, very easy for people to include in their decks, deck building wise, or other role specific cards like Mr. CB Wit, who is just currently an auto-include for any end closer due to the strength of Daring Strike. This is going to be a similar situation where cards, fronts that have top runner are going to more consistently take first. They're going to get angling and scheming, they're going to win races, and this card is going to be very powerful for that, but that's not the only reason why. Now, number two is a big one. This card hints groundwork. Now, anyone who has tried to build a front who isn't Valentine Bourbon will know how annoying this skill is to obtain, especially considering how mandatory it is for actually building fronts that are going to win races. Until now, this has been on pretty bad cards. Back in Euro A, we were using SR Airgroove Guts, believe it or not, just because it was one of the few cards that actually had groundwork on it. And then you would ruin your ace if you ran those cards, so you had to keep doing runs until you could get groundwork inspirations, and then pray that you would get groundwork for your inspirations when you were actually trying to do your ace runs. Either that, or you're bringing cards like Smart Falcon Power or Bakishin Guts, which they do give guaranteed groundwork. However, weakness of those cards is that they're just not that great as stat sticks, and we are going to be going into a speed whip meta. Now, Maruzensky has none of these weaknesses. Maruzensky has increased hint frequency and increased hint level, so you are going to be getting these hints at a higher level, which is very useful. Not guaranteed, you still do need to get the hints, but this card is very likely to give you it. And the rest of her hints are incredibly strong as well, and there's skills like Slipstream here, which is incredibly powerful. The generic front runners, straightaways and front runners, corners is early lead. All of these skills are amazing for fronts. Summer Runner is incredibly nice now as a gold speed skill. We know these are incredibly strong whenever you can slot them in, and it is going to be a trigger for groundwork as well. And numero tres, her unique effect grants a 5% training effectiveness per facility level of training she is on. This means that anytime she's on a high level training facility, she's extremely powerful. Notably during summer, all training facilities are maxed out to level 5, giving Maruzensky a massive 25% training effectiveness. Surpassing Pegasus is 20%, and Narita Top Roads when she maxes out from her unique effect. This means that a Maruzensky on level 5 training just basically outcompetes every speed card in the game. She is incredibly crazy. The rest of her stats support this as well, with 1 speed and 1 power bonus. These are very welcome, and these are before multipliers, so they are going to get very high. 25% friendship bonus is very good. It's not the highest in the game, but the rest of her stats more than make up for it. Her specialty rate, though, maybe not the highest, but it's not unworkably bad, considering just whenever she does land on Rainbow Training, she's going to be giving you so many stats that this is really not going to be an issue. Now, this does mean that early game, her trainings are a bit weak. However, this isn't really an issue because it's early game. We're not generating the majority of our stats here anyway. It should be possible very early on to get level 3 training. You can even do this year 1, and that already gets you up to 15% training effectiveness, and that's comparable to cards like 𝐒𝐓𝐎𝐏, Fine Motion, and Super Creek, which are some of the best cards in the game, right? So she's by no means weak. Okay. And so, aside from those three main points, before we get into whether you should pull for her, there's just some other little things that I feel like are worth mentioning. Notably, the first two events on her chain event, they are randomly going to give you 15 friendship compared to the normal 5 you would get from an event. But it's not guaranteed. If you can get both of them, that's 30. So you're going to have a delta of 30 friendship on your runs. So sometimes it will be incredibly easy to get her to friendship because she already starts out with 30, so 30 plus 30, 60. You only need 20 more to get her to friendship training. So she sometimes is going to rainbow incredibly, incredibly fast. And the other things that I would like to mention quickly are, because this card is going to be so good, it unfortunately means that the Maruzenskys are going massively down in viability. Particularly, this means that you're not going to be seeing Summer Maruzensky nearly as much as you have. She's basically been present in every Champions meeting, but not having top runner is going to be a really big disadvantage for her. And then finally, before we do get into pulling, I would just like to say, free LB compared to MLB, it's only a difference of 2 initial friendship gauge and 15 mood effect. So I think free LB is quite copable for this card, and if you can get free LB, you'll be more than happy, though MLB is obviously a little bit nicer. So now we can start asking whether we should pull for this card. Well, she does have multiple banners. July 2nd will be her first one with Nakayama Fest Wit. This will be very, very close to the Agnes Tachyon Light Hello banner, so this is going to be a banner for people who have saved up for this card preemptively. Normally, the recommended amount of carats that MLB a character is 60k. This is because in 200 pools, you have a 6.5% chance to MLB, so it's very unlikely. Though we said free LB is fine, in this case, you have a 12.6% chance. We will be getting one SR selector from the 1.5th anniversary event, which you could then use on Maruzensky and save carats for Tachyon Light Hello. This is going to most likely be what I do myself. 200 pools, 2LB, 25.2% chance, or a 33.5% chance for 1LB. Well, it's very unlucky, won't pull a single copy, and that's going to be 22% of people. Thankfully, there is a pity every 200 pools, so that helps up. However, going up to 400 pools, which is a lot better, you now have a 57.8% chance of ML being the card, which is massive. That's over half of the people that are going to be pulling at this amount. 22.4% chance to pull at free LB, which, as we know, is very usable. This means that between MLB and free LB, that's going to be over 3/4 of people. So, very favorable odds at this pull amount. Though 14.9% and the other 4% of players will only reach 2LB and 1LB respectively. Though at 2LB, like I said, you can just use select to get up to free LB, so that's really only 4% of players who are putting 400 pools in are going to have issues, so hopefully that's fine. Though if you can, like I said, if you can get to free LB and you can maybe like save 200 pools for a later banner, that would be good. And just remember, there are later banners such as Fine Motion Wit later on in the year, so it's not your only chance to pick this card up, though ideally we do want to be getting meta cards at the start of their lifespan so we can maximize the value we are getting out of them. And this card is going to be very powerful going into the next scenario. However, it will also be useful in the scenario after that, so it has good longevity, which is something we look for when we are committing to pulling on cards, especially if we are trying to not spend or minimize the amount of money we are spending. Now, ideally, you would have 120 carats saved up and split that evenly between Tachyon Light Hello and Smaru, but I understand that's a position not a lot of players are in. If you aren't a front main, since we will be getting free pools, most likely on the Tachyon Hello banner, I would recommend you spend your carats there instead. You will ideally bare minimum one LB Light Hello. You don't want to use a rare version because you want the gold skill version of Playtime's Over. And ideally, you have access to an MLB Tachyon for her +2 skill point bonus, which is going to be incredibly powerful, meta-warpingly strong effect on that card. If you can pull on all of these banners, these cards are going to combo together to make a stupidly strong deck. You're going to be incredibly set for GrandLive. If you are a player still using SR speed cards, my advice would be try and save that for a meta speed card banner. It doesn't necessarily have to be these two, but you just want an MLB speed card, and that's going to leave your account in an incredibly strong position. MLB Meta Speed card, I should clarify. Um, so cards like Agnes Tachyon, Smaru, Jungle Pocket, and El Condor Passer, these are the kind of cards that you should be saving up for because they will make your account incredibly powerful. So, Maruzensky would like to know what you think. She wants to know whether you'll be using her card or whether you'll be giving it a skip this time around. So yeah, let her know. Bye now.